There were many times if I just worked harder, hustled more, stacked my wins, then everything will figure itself out. But something still felt off. And I was doing all the right thing, but without the right direction. But inside, I felt stagnant. I felt soulless. What I did though, is I started asking myself real questions. Not surface level questions, but deeper questions that made me rethink my entire being. Where am I placing my focus, my time, my attention? Is it pulling me toward the life I want, or is it pulling me away from it? And I even asked myself things I never thought about before. One of the clearest memories I have was in the Philippines, and I was telling you guys about the intro.
It's for the streets, it's for the baddies, it's for the orders, it's for everybody. It just really gives me that vibe like,
oh my God, look at that bumper. Would have had no chance back in the day when I was on a come up. I would have got airtime for that number.
Okay, welcome back to another episode of the Presence Podcast. Let's call this the self-series talk. But today's title is Engineering My Life from Within. And honestly, every time we step into this space, it's not just about hearing something new. It's about checking in. It's about asking questions such as, where are we? Where am I at? What am I doing right now that moves me closer to the life that I actually want to live? Because I want to be real with you guys. We're all searching for something. We're searching for how to get to the next level. We're searching for clarity. We're searching for fulfillment, alignment. And honestly, the feeling like you're not just going through the motions, but then your life actually feels like you're in control, where it's yours. You see, I'm right here with you. Every episode, I'm not just talking to you. I'm talking to myself. We're all in the same process. We're getting clearer. We're becoming better. And honestly, reflecting so that we're not just drifting, but intentionally living our lives. I'm going to talk to you about what I started doing. And that is reverse engineering my life from inside and out. What shifted for me and how you can use it to get back on track and get aligned. So every move we make starts moving us closer to what we're meant to become. I want to ask you something. What if I told you living your dream life doesn't start with grinding harder? It starts by reverse engineering it from within. Just think about that for a moment. I know this because I've lived it. There was a time where I thought if I just worked harder, hustled more, stacked my wins, then everything will figure itself out. But something still felt off. And I was doing all the right things, but without the right direction. And I stayed there. I stayed there for a while in the familiar, just going through the motions. Wake up, work, grind, repeat. That was my life. It looked productive, but inside I felt stagnant. I felt soulless. I didn't have purpose. I was caught in the cycle of working with no deeper clarity, no sense of being. I didn't know what my daily habits, where I spent my free time. Everything that I just focused on was just misaligned. I wasn't fully fulfilled. Until I paused, I took a step back, I prayed for clarity, I stopped moving blindly and just not knowing where I'm going, and I just stopped checking all the boxes. What I did though, is I started asking myself real questions. Not surface level questions, but deeper questions that made me rethink my entire being. The kind of questions that force you to sit and get honest. What kind of life do I actually want? What type of day-to-day life do I want? What type of person do I want to become? Not just when people are watching, but when no one's around. See, these are the type of questions. Where am I placing my focus, my time, my attention? Is it pulling me toward the life I want, or is it pulling me away from it? And I even asked myself, would my dream partner see me and think, yeah, this is my dream partner? That's the one. See, am I showing up as a role model for my younger siblings? Am I leading by example? See, the more honest I got with those answers, the more things started to shift. Because I realized it's not about grinding harder. It's about becoming aligned with who you are meant to be. Now, you might be wondering why I love helping people and why I'm doing this in the first place. See, looking back, I started this way earlier in my life. One of the clearest memories I have was in the Philippines, and I was telling you guys about the intro. I witnessed my grandma had a heart attack. I didn't know what was happening at the time, but I saw the signs. Like, she was sweating, her hands were cold, she was breathing slow. I started massaging her. She was like, massaging right here. I started fanning her. I started giving her water. Like nothing worked. And I started panicking and I started running to my neighbor and I begged for help. The person that I asked for help didn't hesitate and they was just like, I got you. See, that moment stuck with me forever. It showed me something I believe to this day. And that is, at our core, true human nature is about giving. It's about serving. It's about loving. And that was the first seed that was ever planted in my young self. I want to be able to give back to others now. And in many of the books I've read, having 13 years of life in the Philippines and 13 years in the States, the more clarity I gained. Contribution is one of the greatest form of fulfillment. Being able to do this fulfills me. Having a positive impact fulfills me. This is my desire, and that is to help others. I wanted to make people become more fulfilled, to give them the experience that I had to go through. And this is why I got into self-development. You see, self-development wasn't a career for me. It was a calling. I enjoy this. It's a way to give back, to take the mistakes I've made, the books I've read, the conversations that I've had, and really hand them to everyone who might need it. Because if I can help even one person get clearer, get unstuck, find a little bit more clarity in their lives, oh man, this is all worth it. And it's the reverse engineering process. That is when I finally stopped chasing. So I started designing my life backwards. I flipped the script. I started asking myself, who do I actually want to become? Like, how do I want to feel daily? What habits, thoughts, systems do I need to put in place to make that life inevitable? And the more I lean into those questions, the more I realized there's so much more to life. There's so much more to life than what we're taught to chase. Experiences we haven't felt, levels we haven't tapped into. Dreams we haven't even realized yet or haven't seen. It's not because we're not capable. It's because we're too busy reacting. Instead of reflecting and creating, we're just reacting. I believe God gives us this vision. And if He let me glimpse the life I want, it's not random. It's a reminder that I'm capable of doing something great. It's a challenge to step up and create it. See, the clarity always comes first. The more I reflected, the more intentional my actions became. See, I learned through mistakes. I course corrected what I needed to. And instead of running in circles, I started moving with purpose. That's when everything hit me. The game changes when you stop operating out of survival. You start aligning yourself. And by the way, when I talk about alignment, I'm not talking about perfection here. I'm talking about those moments when who you are, how you think, how you move, it all just starts lining up with the life that we want. See, my thoughts became clearer. My energy stopped crashing. My circle got stronger. My money wasn't stressing me out. It was serving me. My mindset shifted from getting by to growing forward. Here's the craziest part. It wasn't harder. I didn't have to force it. It just flowed. Clarity and alignment doesn't drain you. It frees you. I realized that alignment doesn't just move us forward. It multiplies everything that we touch. Living in flow and purpose, that is something that I want to master. Every day, I feel like I'm moving with life, not against it. And that's what I want for all of us, whoever's listening. It's not about grinding through life, hoping one day you'll finally hit happiness or fulfillment. It's about feeling it right now, in the present moment. Right here, in this space, wherever you are, whoever's listening, whatever you're driving, it's how we show up. It's how we think. In the small intentional actions we take every single day, that is what it's all about. I want to talk to you about being real, because even after all the clarity, I'm still human. I'm still prone to slipping. I still catch myself falling back into the old patterns sometimes. Because no matter how much I grow, life's going to test me. That's why I knew I couldn't just rely on motivation or knowing better. I needed something that was more solidified, a reminder, a system to keep me grounded when life shakes me up, something that realigns me every time I felt off track. Honestly, this is what led me to reverse engineer my life and create my own 7 pillars in life. Not just some rigid checklist though. It's a personal guide. It works for me. It might work for you. So I want to share this framework that I fall back on, a way to keep myself locked in, focused, and moving towards who I want to become. It's a daily decision. At the end of the day, these are the pillars that I refine, I check, and I move intentionally with. And I want to start with the first pillar, which is the most important. It's spiritual alignment. Every morning, I check in. Am I aligned with who I say I am? But deeper than that, am I aligned with who God is calling me to be? See, without purpose, we drift. Without values, life feels empty. And without God, you lose the source of both. That's why I make space for a daily prayer, reflection, and really just asking, are my actions, mindset, my heart aligned with what God has put me on this earth? Because when you stay aligned spiritually, everything else will start to fall into place. My second pillar is the mindset and strategy. See, you can have all the ambition, all the goals, all this drive, but if your mindset is not in the right space, none of it will last. Because it's not just about how hard you live life or grind, it's about how you think, how you plan, how do you respond when things don't go your way. See, for me, mindset isn't some motivational quote that just gets you up. It's a system running in the background, the one I had to reprogram over time. Still am. And strategy, this is the blueprint that backs it up. I've lived both sides of this. There was a time where I was just winging life, no real plan, no intentional thought behind my moves. Hey, whatever. I'd be productive, but with no clear direction. I had to start with the root cause. What do I actually believe about myself? That's our beliefs. Do I believe in myself? Am I capable? Do I believe I can handle challenges? Do I believe I deserve the life that I envision? See, once I got real about all of this, that's when I started building real strategy. What's my intention for today? Where am I focusing my energy, my time? All mindset, right? What's the actual plan to execute? For me, it's simple. I honestly use my calendar a lot. I visualize before I act. And honestly, I audit my thoughts. I don't know. Maybe I have ADHD because when your mindset is dialed in and your strategy is clear, what I've noticed, you don't just react to life. You get to run it. Now you're in control. You're in the driver's seat. See, for a long time, I was busy. I was doing enough. I was working, I was socializing, I was doing that on a repeat. It felt like I was running in circles. No real structure, no intentional plan. I realized I didn't have a system. So I started creating systems and I didn't have a strategy. And I remember sitting down, I was looking at my calendar. I was like, whoa. What's going on? Everything that I'm thinking doesn't align. There's no strategy. No wonder why I feel stuck in my days. I don't even know where I'm trying to go. It wasn't about adding more tasks. It was about moving smarter. That's what I realized what this pillar is about. The third one is vitality and energy. If my energy's off, nothing flows. Now, I used to underestimate this. I thought if I just push, grind harder, I'll be fine. That's not the case. The days where I skipped sleep, ate like trash, neglected movement, honestly, I wasn't sharper. I wasn't more productive. I was drained, scattered. I didn't know how to function. Slipping mentally, emotionally, physically, it showed up in every pillar. So I started treating my body like a temple. So you can have the mindset, you can have all the strategy you want, but if your body is running on empty, hey, good luck. You can't show up. For me, it comes down to what am I really doing right now? Is it fueling me or is it draining me? Is it serving my body or is it not? Sleep is sacred. No more sacrificing rest like it's optional. Nutrition, diet, real food, right? My daily movement, whether it's lifting, stretching, playing basketball, staying in motion, right? Because if you have my Instagram, you probably see my daily movement. I love the hustle, but I've learned the hard way. If I don't manage my energy, I crash. Simple. See, there were times where I'd stay up editing videos, working calls, everything, you name it. Eating whatever's convenient, skipping workouts. The next thing you know, I'm drained. Can't focus. Mood's off. My fourth pillar is emotional resilience. Here's something no one talks about enough. It's easy to feel in control when life is smooth. But how do you act? How do you move when things fall apart? For a long time, I didn't have control of that. I used to react to every setback, every curveball like the world was against me. Life's never gonna stop throwing punches. The devil's gonna keep tempting us. Now, let me ask you what the real skill? It's learning how to stay grounded no matter what. That's what emotional resilience is. It's not pretending things don't affect you. It's mastering how you respond when they do. See, for me, it looked like practicing self-awareness. I had to stop and catch myself. What is it that's triggering me? Why am I reacting this way? Pausing before reacting to someone's bad behavior. Instead of letting emotions run wild, I learned to step back, breathe, and reframe. learning, training my adaptability. Nothing ever goes exactly as planned. So I started seeing challenges as setups, not setbacks. I welcome all these challenges. See, the whole content game can get pretty complex. I mean, I thought of quitting. Imagine editing these podcasts, these videos. It takes 2 to 3 hours to edit. Now imagine being an amateur. It adds more time, because emotional resilience isn't about being cold or unbothered. It's about staying solution focused and keeping calm in the storm. The stronger I built this pillar, the more unshakable I became. And the fifth pillar is building meaningful relationships. Now, here's one thing I will always stand on. The people you surround yourself with will shape everything around you. It will influence you. See, for years, I had friends, connections, people around me that wasn't really aligned. I wasn't really aware of this, whether they were sharpening me or they were draining me. See, it's easy to keep people around based on history, based on, the past. But the truth is, if they don't align with where you're going, they'll leave you where you've always been. Once I got clear on this, on who I wanted to become, I had to start asking myself more questions. But who challenges me to grow? Who supports me without judgment? Who's adding to my peace, not subtracting or taking away from it? It wasn't about cutting people off. It was about protecting my energy and being intentional about who's in my circle, because the right relationships will multiply your growth. The wrong ones will stunt it. I've kept people in my life way longer than I should have. Just because we had, history, we had some friendships back in the day. But when I look closer, it was clear they weren't pouring into me the same way I was pouring into them. And I had to learn that the hard way. Not everyone's meant to go where you're headed. I treat my relationships just like I treat everything else. Intentional, value-based. And I want to make sure it's reciprocal. That leads us to the sixth pillar, which is financial intelligence. Money isn't the goal here. It's the tool. For a long time, I used to think that if I just made more money, I'd feel secure. But every time I hit a new income level or a new salary, it wasn't enough because I wasn't managing it with intention. See, that's when I made that shift. It's not how much you make. It's how much you keep. It's how you control it. It's how you direct it. So now I track everything, just like I track my life. I track every dollar because what gets tracked improves. I focus on developing high income skills, which is what I'm doing here. And I stay disciplined enough to invest, to save, and to really just plan ahead, because true freedom doesn't come from chasing the checks. It comes from having the financial clarity and the freedom. See, once I got serious with building wealth and where I want to go, I stopped spending on random things. See, it's not about flexing. It's about having options, financial security, financial freedom, financial intelligence. And we have to maximize this tool. The seventh pillar is my favorite one, and it's called bliss and flow. Let's be honest here, okay? What's the point of building, grinding, chasing success if we never even stop to actually enjoy the process? See, I used to think I had to delay my happiness until I reach a certain level. Once I hit a milestone, once I hit millions of dollars, once I achieved a bigger house or faster car, then I'll feel good. Fulfillment isn't waiting at the finish line. It's found in how we show up day to day. So now I prioritize romanticizing my little things in life, whether it's journaling, coffee, getting a workout in, hanging out with friends. I create a balance, pushing hard, but then knowing when to recharge myself. Life's all about being in the moment now, because that's where the best moments are created. I think we overlook all the blessings in life. It's really right in front of us. See, I trust life like the dream has already started, because it has. At least for me. At least on this side of the podcast. Flow over force. Joy over grind. That's where the magic happens. That's where life is fulfilling. See, now that you got a small glimpse of how I live, how I think, how I function, who I am as a person, and what's keeping me focused, here's where we'll take it a little bit deeper. Over the next few episodes, I'll be breaking down strategies, my pillars, not from some perfect finished place though, but from where I'm at now. Still learning, still testing, applying it every single day. And I want to be able to share how I use each pillar to realign when life gets chaotic. I mean, the mistakes I've made, what's worked for me, and how you can use it too. Again, I'm serving you to start moving with more clarity, fulfillment, and presence. See, this podcast isn't just a conversation. It's a toolkit for all of us, for myself. This is me learning with you before you move on to the next task. Where are you in your life? Where do you feel misaligned? Where are you grinding, going through the motions, and just drifting with life? But deep down, you know you're not moving with clarity. Maybe it's your habits. Maybe it's who's in your circle. Maybe it's how you talk to yourself. Or maybe it's what you do when no one's watching. Whatever it is, pause, audit, reflect. And here's the challenge. What's the one shift that you can make today? Small, 1%, 10%, or big, 100%. That moves you from autopilot to intentional, because no one's coming to save us. We only get one life, and we have to maximize every single day that we get. Life's a gift, and we have to treat it that way. At some point, we have to decide, do we keep reacting to life, or do we start creating it? Break the cycle, build the system, become more. And remember, clarity creates flow. Presence keeps you there. Hope this episode was a little bit helpful. And if this is something that you find value in, please feel free to share it to your friends, to your family. I would really appreciate it. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day, your night, and stay present.